What's going on, guys? Josh here from Untitled Productions, and today we are going to be upgrading the Moza Air gimbal firmware. Now, I've already upgraded my gimbal, but I'm gonna re-upgrade it just so I can show you the process. And after we do that, I wanna show you some of the cool new features that came with this upgrade. So first things first, you wanna grab the cable that came with your gimbal. It is the cable that fits inside the connector here on the side of the gimbal, and then the other end is the USB connector that goes right into your computer. So before we start the upgrade process, we want to download the Moza Air Assistant app. You're going to go to www.gutson.com/moza-air-downloads.html. I'm going to leave the text in the description box below, and there should be an annotation link that will come up as well. So once you do that, you want to scroll down and download either the Mac or Windows version of the software, depending on your operating system. So I have a Mac, I'm going to download the Mac version. Once that's downloaded, we want to go ahead and open up that folder that it downloaded itself in. So once you open up the download folder, you'll notice that there's two different types of files. There's a zip file, which says moza_usb_driver. You want to install that first. So we're going to open up that zip file, and we're gonna install that driver. That driver is meant so your computer can properly communicate to the gimbal. So we're gonna install that driver. Agree, install. So while the driver is being installed, we can start prepping the gimbal for the firmware upgrade. So in order for us to trigger the gimbal for upgrade mode, we want to hold down the joystick button and the power button at the same time until you see the power button flash. Now we can take our USB connection cable and plug it into the gimbal. After connecting the gimbal to the computer, we can open up the Moza Assistant app. So once you've double-clicked on the Moza Assistant app, a little window will pop up saying firmware upgrading, parameter setting, or cancel. You want to click on firmware upgrading. Then click OK. Next, you're going to click on the upgrade button. Wait for the process to finish upgrading until it says that it's safe to disconnect the gimbal. Next, let's upgrade the thumb controller for the Moza Air. First off, you want to hold down the speed button. Then connect it to the USB cable. It should say connecting. Then you can set it off to the side and open up the Moza Assistant app again. Once the remote controller says connect OK, that means everything is properly connected and you can start the upgrading process. It's exactly the same as upgrading the firmware on the gimbal itself. When it's finished upgrading, you can disconnect it from the USB connection cable. Now let's power on the gimbal and let's see what's new. Then I'm going to open up the Moza Assistant app on my phone and connect it to the gimbal. So once we've opened up the app, we can go ahead and press on the parameter setting icon. When we scroll down to the bottom of the app, we'll notice that auto tune has been added. This is an option that automatically adjusts parameter settings to the weight of your camera. Obviously, your camera should be mounted onto your gimbal at this time. So let's see what happens when we press on auto tune. At this time, the gimbal is checking how much power it needs to be sending to the motors in order to properly balance and stabilize your camera. They've actually also fixed a bug when using the time-lapse option. Usually when I enter time-lapse mode, the gimbal starts spinning out of control. But I think Gutson has fixed that issue since it no longer happens ever since I upgraded the firmware. Also, if we go to the remote controller, we'll notice that the auto-tune option has also been added to its settings. So you can actually auto-tune the gimbal simply by using the thumb controller as well. Now, are there any actual changes with the gimbal movement itself? I feel like it's just as smooth, maybe even smoother, and a little bit more sensitive to my movements. Now, one option that's been added to this gimbal is the roll follow option. So if I press the joystick 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, and move the handle around like this, we'll notice that the roll motion is following my movement. I've only seen this done on one other gimbal, and that is the Foxycam FM145. Now this is a great feature because you can get extremely creative with your shots without using the joystick on the remote controller or on the gimbal handle. All you have to do is do the motion and the gimbal will follow. Alright guys, well that's the gist of it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, please don't forget to give this video a big like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel with notifications on. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments section below. If you're interested in purchasing the Moza Air gimbal, go ahead and check out the link for it in the description box below. Also, don't forget to check out my in-depth review of the Moza Air gimbal right here. I can't wait to see what you guys create. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.